Rhona, hi, how are you first of all? Thanks so much for joining me today.
No, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to get the chance to come on here and talk. And yeah, I'm doing good. It's a very exciting time for women's rugby, so it's an easy time to shout about it and brag about it.
Obviously, you play for Scotland, and there was obviously that game, that quarter-final game where you lost out to England. Are we okay to talk about that now? Is it still raw? How are you feeling?
No, if I'm honest, I'm gutted that we exited the tournament when we did, but the semi-finals and the finals, I think were both just incredible showcases of women's rugby. It made me kind of so proud to have been part of the tournament and so excited for the future of women's rugby. So yes, we're ready to dive into that game.
And of course, you scored a try in that game. Where does that rank in terms of tries that you've scored in your career? How much of a career highlight was that?
You'd rather be scored a game-winning try than it was always a little bit of a commiseration try at the end. But no, I think we've worked so hard as a team throughout the months leading up to the tournament, during the tournament. We were really proud of the performance that we put in during the tournament. So although we didn't get the win in the quarterfinal, it was really nice to kind of end our time at the Rugby World Cup with a try.
And obviously, you've mentioned what an exciting time it is for women's rugby, and obviously we've mentioned you play for Scotland, but I would like to touch on the Red Roses quickly. I mean, them winning on home soil, that is just incredible for rugby in England, but also hopefully for rugby in the UK as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's massively inspiring. And yeah, although there is this Scottish English rivalry, I play in the PWR. I've got loads of extremely close friends on that team. So obviously, I'm very, very proud of them. And I think after the heartbreak that they went through at the last World Cups and the 2017 one, it was, yeah, massively inspiring to see them fight back to get that win and to do it on home soil in front of an 82,000 sold out Twickenham after what I think was undeniably the best World Cup in yeah, one of rugby history. It just was the icing on the cake.
And we saw Lucy Bronze was at the trophy lift, and she kind of said it gave her deja vu to the Lionesses winning in 2022, and of course they won again this year as well. Like, what are you hoping that this win is going to do for women's rugby going forwards?
To be honest, I hope that what we've seen in women's football, in terms of Lucy Bronze becoming a household name, packed stadiums throughout the whole year and during the Premiership season, I hope that we can see that translate into rugby. I think women's rugby is growing at an incredible rate. Like the research from Royal London showed that there was 1% of women playing rugby 2 years ago to there's 11% now. And that is in a 2 year period. And even if you look at World Cup final numbers, we went from 20,000 in 2017 to 40,000 in 2022 to 82,000. I hope that we can keep taking this momentum, keep packing out the stadiums all year round, keep making games accessible all year round. And I hope that in the future we're not talking about a sold out Twickenham as if it's a novelty. I hope that, that is, we don't have to talk about it because, of course, it's sold out as it is every year.
And as you touched on there, that obviously the Lionesses became household names back in 2022, and again some of the newer ones this year as well. And I have to say, I've been following so many of the personalities in across the teams in the women's rugby this World Cup. And how important is that, do you think, that people can connect with those personalities? Like, I see so many of the players on TikTok, and I'm like, they're so funny and engaging. And like, I think that's really important to kind of draw new fans in, isn't it?
No, absolutely. I think that is huge. Like connecting the game in that way and kind of joining sport and lifestyle like that, I think can be so powerful. Like if you look at Ilona Maher, like the Ilona Maher effect, people were going to games to see her. All of the games that Bristol was playing at had like their higher ever attendance when she was playing. And that is because of the work she's done to, yeah, connect with fans and you can really see her personality. And similarly, I played in France before and there was athletes on the French team that were sponsored by Levi, that were sponsored by American Vintage, all these things that get more eyes on women's rugby and make players more lucrative, I think is huge, and I think the game will really benefit from that, and we will see more and more of that.
Yeah, I think that is really important. And like, I mean, I'm a huge football fan, and I watched the Euros this summer, and I watched the World Cup with my auntie who lives like 200 miles away, and we would like text during the game, my auntie Bridget, and I just think it's got that power to like bring people together, doesn't it? It's really special sport.
Oh, absolutely, it's so special, and that's, I think, as a player in it, but also as everybody connected to it, like my brother works in a primary school and he was like showing his class like highlights from our game at the weekend every Monday, and he's at random primary school in the north of Scotland, totally lost in the Highlands. I think the game grows so organically like that. And yeah, I think if you're a player, if you're a fan, you can feel those highs, you can feel those lows, and sport is just amazing for that community aspect.
And touching on schools as well, I read that you got inspired to play rugby when Sarah Quick came to your school and did like a taster session. How important is it for like for say your brother to be showing his class those highlights and them to be inspired by the role models that they see on screen? How important is it to have those role models, and also is that something that you think about a lot? Is that something that you aspire to be?
Yeah, it's something that I think about all the time. Like I've got on my arm tattooed Tudor and Brosnick, which is a Gaelic for journey and inspire. And I think inspiring the next generation means so much to me because, as you say, it was a random PE lesson at school that introduced me to rugby, and that has changed the course of my life so significantly in terms of the path it's put me on, the places I've got to travel, the opportunities I've had. Like, it is now my full-time job, and that started at a PE lesson in school when I was 12 or 13 years old. So yeah, I think we owe this massive debt to the generation that came before us that we can't pay back, the trailblazers in the game. I think we can only pay it forward by inspiring more people to watch, to show up, to give it a go. And you really don't know where this journey can lead you to.
It is really important, isn't it? Because those early experiences are really informative for children. And I really hope that, as we saw off the back of, I think it was 2.3 million new women and girls started playing football off the back of the last Euros. And hopefully we can see that off the back of this Euros and off the back of the World Cup as well. Um, Without being negative, though, I wanted to touch on because I go to a lot of grassroots teams and speak to them a lot. And they always talk about how, the influx in girls wanting to play is incredible, but it's finding that funding for pitches for them, for kit for them that fits, and all of the kind of extra costs. Like you need extra referees and you need extra staff for a whole new teams. Some of them have gone from like having not enough girls for one team to like over 10 teams. And that is a real issue, isn't it? To make sure that that like trickles down into the grassroots.
Absolutely. I think the game is growing at this exponential rate, but actually the investment has to be from the grassroots up. I think, yeah, as you say, it's amazing that there's so many new people turning up to rugby clubs and giving it a go. But if you've only got one pitch and you're having to share that between, four men's teams and a new women's team and the youth section, it can be really challenging. And it's the same with facilities, but also facilitating the game. Like you said, physios, referees, there's so much more than just celebrating that there's more women playing rugby. We need to make sure that the infrastructure is there from the ground up. Royal London have invested in the grassroots game through their grassroots awards program, but I think the investment really has to match the growth of the game because that is where we need more players playing, and then that will trickle up into more competitive international teams.
I mean, we even saw it with Canada, didn't we? We saw that story about them having to crowdfund to actually make it to the World Cup, and I don't think their team is fully professional, and yet they're runners up. They came runners up, so it is really an issue and something that we really, I think, have to focus on and make sure that there is that funding at the grassroots that can then trickle up as well as, trickle down off the back of that win as well.
No, absolutely. I think it's the funding at the grassroots, the funding at the elite level, as we've seen with Canada, is still an issue, but also it's bridging that gap. Right now, the gap between the PWR and the championship is absolutely huge. And actually, we want that to be more like the structure that's in place in football, which players can go on loan to a team a league down, and that isn't a massive stepping stone down. Like actually, that's a massive development tool. I think rugby's still a couple of years behind there, but the game is growing probably quicker than the sports coming in right now. So if they can come in together, I think we're going to be in a very exciting place in a couple of years' time.
Yeah, because we really need to foster that new generation, don't we? We always talk about new talent coming through, and I think that's a huge part of it as well. And I also wanted to talk to you about the first British and Irish Lions tour as well in New Zealand 2027. How much would it mean to you to be on that plane?
Yeah, like it's always beyond your wildest dreams because it wasn't something you could dream because, as you said, the first women's tour. So nobody dreams of playing for the Lions growing up because that literally didn't exist. So it's like this, yeah, this new possibility is being put on our horizons. I'm definitely just focusing on the here and now, taking things season by season, doing what I can to be the best I can be right now for club and country. But I'd obviously be lying, as anybody would, I'm sure, if I said I didn't have one tiny eye on the possibility of what that could look like.
And before I let you go, just quickly, if you could give me one highlight from your time at the World Cup this summer, what would that be?
I think the biggest highlight was our first game against Wales in Manchester. From the second we got off the bus, the crowds were so loud and they were lining our kind of walk from the bus all the way into our changing room. And I've never had that before. And I think that was the moment of like, actually, this World Cup is different. We're seeing a new stage in women's sport and in women's rugby. And yeah, that just set the tone for what, yeah, turned out to be an incredible tournament.
We hear it across all sports, don't we, that like the fans being there really can sometimes make that difference. Like whether you win or lose, it's the atmosphere, it's the fans that have like traveled miles to come and see you, isn't it?
Oh, it was so humbling. Like the support we had, every game actually, apart from a quarter final, felt like a home game. And then the quarter final against England, I was very aware that we weren't the favourites there. But yeah, I think the support meant the world. And it was actually I had a funny moment. I always find my parents during the anthem, like I always find them in the crowd, and I'll be like, okay, they're here. And there was an anthem that I couldn't find them, and I spent the entire two anthems like scanning rows to see where they were, and I couldn't find them because it was so heaving, which is yeah, it was so excited, but I was also like, like they drove down today? Are they okay? Um, so yeah, we're at a very exciting place, and this World Cup felt like no tournament or no match I've been part of before, and I just really hope that that wasn't a one-off, and that we're going to feel that next Six Nations, we're going to feel that during the PWR season.
Yeah, I really hope that too. I hope that the game can just continue to grow, get the support, the investment that it needs, and hopefully we just see not only the sport flourish at like the elite level, but also lots of more women and girls getting involved, just in the park or anything like that. That would be really lovely to see.
No, absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And I think, as you say, we need that investment at grassroots level to make sure that women and girls' first involvement in rugby is a positive one.